Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, coming to you on Christmas week. We're just a few days away from Santa arriving, and holy cow, we're going to have a white Christmas, it sure seems like. There's been a dump of snow this weekend, quite a bit in the lower mainland around these parts, and that just made me just stay home, forget going out, just enjoy the football, the soccer, the UFC, all the great sports that was on this weekend. And coming to you a little early so Jason can get a nice dinner tonight. Thanks a lot for doing this early, Jason. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun, and dinner's gonna be excellent. That's why, getting it in early. But hey, man, we had a great weekend of sports. We had actually a fantastic weekend of sports.
Yeah, it sure was. Holy cow. Incredible. Amazing. I love games on Saturday. There was the greatest comeback in NFL history on Saturday. Two good games. One of the games was not great, but two great games on Saturday. Tons of amazing comebacks and great games on yesterday, on Sunday. NBA's in full swing, going great. Nice UFC. A lot of good fights on that card. It was a lot of fun. Last card of the year. We don't have another card for a whole month, which is pretty crazy. It's quite a long stretch. But I gotta say, the highlight of the weekend was the World Cup final. A massive win. Argentina beat France in the World Cup final. And I'm gonna say this, and you probably disagree because you're not a soccer fan, but it was actually the greatest game in the history of sports. It was the number one game in the history of sports. There was more people watched that game than anybody has ever watched a game in the history of the world. It was so back and forth, so incredible to see Lionel Messi, the greatest player of all time, finally get that only trophy that he was missing from his trophy case, and beat Killian Mbappe, who had a hat trick to try to get his nation a back-to-back World Cup. But the greatest game ever played, and I don't think you watched it. You missed out big time. The greatest game ever played.
I watched it.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
But unfortunately, the streaming kind of cut out right when it was in overtime. So I was listening to it on audio at my friend's place, and they're just desperately trying to get it to work. So we saw like the shootout, right?
Okay.
And then plus on top of that, we were over from last night. We had a great Christmas party.
Nice.
We did the right thing, the responsible thing. We slept over, and then everybody got up early to watch the game.
Okay.
So they watched the game. I will say this: that was probably the best soccer European football game I think I've ever seen. I've never seen a player literally almost win a football game by himself with that much high stakes.
Yeah.
And I want to say this. It was kind of almost like a passing of the torch. Now that we know that Messi's not going to be playing any more World Cups, it's like Mbappe just said, well, I guess I'm the next one up. I'm the next one. And especially with a performance like that. And technically, it wasn't 3 goals. He scored 4 because he did score his penalty kick as well.
And the penalty kicks too. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Messi got 3. He got 4. It was a titanic battle. And the cool thing is they played together on the same team, their same club team, which is totally incredible that these two of the greatest of all time are playing together. I actually saw Messi smile when Mbappe scored that 3rd goal. He was just like, that's crazy. Like, I can't believe he did that, because you thought when Messi got that 3rd goal that this was it. Argentina's got this. They've won the cup, and then all of a sudden he scores the 3rd one, and you're like, holy cow! Single-handedly, he could get France to another championship, and it was an epic, titanic battle. So back and forth, and I really felt bad for the 4 billion people that didn't watch it. 3.6 billion people did tune in and watch it, but I feel sorry for all those people that didn't, because it was something that I'll never forget. The greatest game ever played. It was
fantastic. Like, it was just because, in the beginning there, when it was still in regular time, Argentina was up by 2, and you're like, well, if France is running out of time, I think they finally scored their first goal with like, what was it, 12 minutes left in the game?
Yeah, at the
Before
80th minute they got
yeah.
like just crazy.
And then finally Mbappe ties it up, and you're just like, what am I watching here? What is this? This is insane. This is incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, then going back to what you just said, that Mbappe and Messi are on the same team, you look at that and go, how is that fair? That probably shouldn't be a thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the cool things about soccer, though, about like you say, European football. It is just amazing that you can really, stack a team. You can spend unlimited amount of money in most leagues, and it's just, hey, I want the best, so keep them coming, keep them coming. And we're gonna win championships, and Messi has done, like I said, everything. Just the list of accolades, trophies, things that he's won, MVPs and things. It's just so phenomenal. And at 35 years old, yeah, this is his swan song for the World Cup. He said he's not going to leave the national team yet. He wants to play as a champion in the next few years, maybe 1, 2, I don't know how many, but 39 years old, doubtful that he would make that next World Cup. But 23, about to turn 24 tomorrow, Killian Mbappe, absolutely incredible win last World Cup, and to be able to come back, win the Golden Boot this time, get a hat trick in the final. He must have been looking around like, okay, is anybody else going to help me here? Because I just need one of you guys to kick one in, and and we got this. I'm pulling my weight here, but where is everybody else?
Yeah, no, he basically drove the engine. He drove the bus all the way to almost a win. And that's as impressive an individual performance as I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it was spectacular and so good to see. And I have a really good friend from France, Olivier. He's been on this podcast a few times, and I felt sorry for him. I was going to have him as a guest today or this week, but now with France losing, I'm sure there's a lot of heartbreak there, and he probably doesn't want to come on and talk about a loss. But that French team is an amazing team to watch as well. They had an incredible World Cup, amazing performances, and Argentina lost the first game of the World Cup against Saudi Arabia, and everybody was just stunned and shocked. And that led to a lot of big upsets in the World Cup. But what a phenomenal tournament, whole month. I love the World Cup because you can just see people from around the world, wherever they're born, even if they're living in Canada, US, all over the world, they just stop and support their country. And it was awesome to see. I would go to work and I'd see people on their phones. I'd see TVs and laptops set up. I'd hear it. I would see flags everywhere. I went and watched a lot of games live, but it's tough when it's across the pond somewhere where the games are like 5 a.m., 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m. It's harder to watch. I'm really excited that it's coming here for the next World Cup because it'll be primetime games and I won't have to miss any of them.
Yeah. No, I look forward to that. That's the World Cup I'll actually be tuning into because it's not at a weird times and stuff like that. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to that. And the other thing that I was like amazed at, just amazed, I saw it off Instagram, was the party in Argentina.
Oh my God.
I'm like looking at it going, what is that? Like, it's an ocean of people that stretched out forever.
Yeah.
It looked like it was the whole damn country out.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, what is crazy.
Yeah, that looked amazing. I know I should have pulled it up to show it. There was a drone shot I saw, and they said there was 2 million people right in the Buenos Aires main square, and they just kept flying over and just showing more and more people. Like you say, it was a sea. You couldn't pick out any individual people except people on high stands waving flags and stuff. But just the drone shot. If you have not seen that, anybody that's listening or watching, pull that up. It is it's a sight to behold, And it makes me wish that I was rich enough to get on a private jet and just fly there. I would have been, I don't know how many hours it would have taken to get to Buenos Aires, but that would have been worth it. It would have been a hell of a party.
No. Them people are going to be partying for weeks on end. That's what it looked like to me. It's like,
Yeah.
it's Christmas and we won the World Cup. All is right in the world. We're partying.
Yeah.
Like that's what it looks like. And they're going to be partying for days and days on end.
Yeah.
And also, too, Messi now deserves this. He's earned it. He's God over there.
Yeah.
Like, there's actual Jesus God, and there's Messi right beside him.
I know. Yeah. It's so great that he's finally sort of wrestled the torch away from Maradona, too. He was always having such a hard time living up to what Maradona did in his career. And he was always just a little below in people's eyes because he didn't bring them that World Cup. And now that he has, he could run for president. He could do anything and he would get it. He'll never have to buy a meal or a drink again in his home country. And yeah, there's a lot of really big perks that are coming his way for sure.
Yo, no, there's everything. Everything is coming his way, and it's well deserved. He's worked very hard. He's got like a stellar career. He's a future he's everything.
Yeah,
everything he's managed to accomplish. All of this, and then the icing on the cake is to finally get the World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah, well, soccer is the biggest sport in the world, played in every single solitary country, played by more people than any other sport. World Cup is only once every 4 years. Only 32 of the 195 nations make it in. The top 11 guys are starting in the world, and out of 80 million people, the Argentina has these top 11. 26 guys make the squad, and they finally brought it back after 36 years. And it was amazing tournament. I definitely know that next World Cup, when it comes, I'm not working in 1 second of that month. I'm going to be off of work and taking holidays and traveling around and seeing soccer in all the cities. And it's just going to be an absolute blast. And I had a great time this one, but yeah, it was tough being here on the West Coast. The time difference. It's a little hard to party at 7 a.m. most days. And I'm maybe a little too old to be drinking at 7 a.m. every day. It's not probably good for my health.
No, probably not. But also too, like you said, like it's the time difference. Like it just makes it very hard to be engaged in these games unless you're literally like from the countries that are participating in the World Cup, and then you're engaged. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to have your beer along with your hash browns and your scrambled eggs and stuff. So it makes it kind of tough.
Yeah. Yeah, well, okay, let's transition to the NFL. So we had the greatest game ever played. We had the greatest comeback ever happen in the history of the sport. We had probably the dumbest play I've ever seen ever happen in NFL history. A lot of really amazing moments. We've been going usually NFC top teams down and starting that way. So we'll go that way again. We'll start with the NFC East leading Eagles, and they got another big victory. Beat the Bears 25-20. Jalen Hurts was just incredible again. 3 rushing touchdowns, and this guy, man, MVP. I think you already got to give it to him with this team at 13-1, and him just driving this bus. This was a cool battle too between Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts. I was really excited to see both these guys facing each other. And did you see the almost touchdown that Fields had where it was called back because he stepped out on the 9-yard line? That play was one of the best touchdown runs ever. It's just unfortunate that his toe hit the sideline, but this was a heck of a game. 25-20 win by the Eagles.
Yeah, it was a heck of a game, and that was almost the most ridiculous touchdown by like a quarterback I've ever seen. Like I was just like, oh, he's still going? Wait, he's still going? Like it was an amazing play that unfortunately didn't happen. But the one thing that really stood out to me, okay, so Hurts carries the ball 17 times, 61 yards, but he gets 3 touchdowns. But he's actually outrushed by Fields with 15 carries for 95 yards. And I'm like, Oh wow, you just that's something that you definitely just don't see every day. You know,
No,
like, and I love the fact that yeah, that now quarterbacks are being like that dual threat. We
yeah,
can pass or we can run. It's our choice or whatever the defense is going to give us,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
then Hurts passed for 315 yards. He did have those 2 picks, but Brown and Smith again, huge games.
yeah.
Brown 9 receptions for 181 yards, and Smith for 5 receptions for 126 yards. Those guys are studs.
Yeah, those are two massive, amazing weapons, and it must be so nice for Hurts to run the ball. And if he has to throw, he's got those two guys to haul in 100-yard games every game, and just incredible. And their defense was massive as well. There was 6 sacks, and 3 guys had all 6 sacks. Hassan Reddick, Javon Hargrave, and Josh Sweat all had 2 sacks apiece on Fields. So Fields was running for his life, but this Eagles team is stacked. The offense, defense, it's absolutely amazing to watch. Um, I was pretty impressed with David Montgomery as well. Chicago's going to be good this year. They're 3-11 and having a really rough year, but this team just needs a little more defense and a couple more weapons on offense, and it's going to be really contending very soon. I love this quarterback matchup though. It was one of my favorite matchups ever to see these two spectacular dual threat quarterbacks going, and Fields is finally getting an opportunity to throw. But the Eagles were saying, no, you're not. we're not allowing that. And unfortunate, I've heard though that Jalen Hurts did sprain his shoulder and is uncertain to play this week. They are still not guaranteed to win the division or the top seed, but I don't think this injury was super serious, but I do expect them to hold him out this week, just precautionary.
Oh no, I definitely agree with you right there because why take the risk? You're 13-1. You're definitely going into the playoffs, right? So I don't think there's any reason to take any necessary risk. And also, too, you want him to be as healthy as possible going into the playoffs. So if he needs a week of rest, give him a week of rest.
Exactly. Yeah. So this week, the Bears host the Bills, and the Eagles go to Dallas for that big divisional game. That's on Saturday at 1:25. There's actually only 3 Sunday games coming up because it's Christmas Day. All the games have been shifted to Saturday. We'll have 3 games on Sunday and a Monday nighter. So Saturday 1:25 for Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys looked great in that first half and then blew the game against the Jags. They were up 21-3 and they lost 40-34 in overtime when Dak Prescott was picked up by Rashawn Jenkins for the second time of the day. He got a pick 6, ran it in. Jags win. Jags are really coming up, but Jags actually have a shot to get in the playoffs as well. They're only 1 game behind Tennessee, and Trevor Lawrence looked amazing. Zay Jones, 3 touchdowns. Travis Etienne, Marvin Jones had a TD. This team's starting to really come on, and they humbled Dallas, outscoring them 33-13 in the second half in overtime.
Yeah, the Jags definitely came on, and I'm just kind of surprised that the Cowboys fell apart the way that they did. It's more the Cowboys falling apart than the Jags coming on that I thought this game that really, really told the tale of the story. Lawrence, 318 yards, 4 touchdowns, 27-42. He had a great game. He had a fantastic game.
Yeah.
You could see that there's glimpses, there's instances of this team wanting to turn the corner, wanting to be great. Yeah. And I think they'll be able to grow and learn from this particular season. And especially if they manage to somehow make it into the playoffs, it's going to be very hard. But if they keep playing at this higher level, they're definitely going to give themselves a chance.
Yeah, sure are. Something seems wrong with Dak since he's been back. He returned week 7 from injury. He's thrown 10 picks since. That was his 4th multi-interception game this year, and that was as many he had 2019, 2020, and 2021 seasons combined. So this is not a good stretch from him. Not sure why he's making so many mistakes, but they're really hurting Dallas, and Dallas sits 10-3 right now, but they're or 10-4 right now. Sorry, 10-4, and they're in need of a big win. If Jalen Hurts is out next week, they have a much better shot, obviously. But Eagles, even with a backup quarterback, could beat Dallas the way it's going right now.
Yeah, definitely. Eagles have all the talent in the world to still beat Dallas, and if Dallas puts in another performance like this, even with the Eagles as having a backup quarterback in, they could lose.
Yeah,
you could definitely lose.
Yeah. So Dallas, as I said, hosts the Eagles, and the Jags play the Jets in New York, and that's the Thursday game this week, the Thursday nighter. So that'll be good. And on the Sunday nighter, the other two teams in the NFC East played each other for the second time in 3 weeks. The last game was December 4th, and it ended in a 20-20 tie between the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders. This time the Giants also put up 20, but they held the Commanders to 12 points. They stopped them on a 4th and goal late to preserve the win, but Washington got absolutely robbed by the refereeing. Horrible call on the play before. They had it on the 2-yard line. Receiver Terry McLaurin went out to the sideline. He looked down at the ground. He asked the referee, "Hey, am I on this line of scrimmage?" The referee looked like he nodded. Then he reached down and he grabbed his side where his flag was. And then as soon as the ball was snapped, he threw the flag. And they pulled him back 5 yards for not lining up on the line of scrimmage. And they were now forced to try to score from farther back. On the very next play, Tyler Heineke threw it into the end zone for Curtis Samuel, and pass interference, big time. The guy was all over him, had him hugged. McLaurin couldn't get up, couldn't raise his arms up, didn't flag it. 4th down, no go, ball turnover, game over. Absolutely, I would be irate if I was a Commanders fan. I hate the Commanders, but they got just robbed. They got absolutely robbed. It was blatant screw ups by the refs there.
Okay, so first off, I didn't know that McLaurin actually asked the ref if he was on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if the ref is obligated to tell him. I have no idea. I don't know what those rules are.
Yeah,
but
I think they are. I think they are. I think I've been told they are. Yeah, if he asks, they gotta say yes or no.
Okay, so then that's a huge screw up on the ref, because then what are you doing? You set up the player when you're actually obligated to tell him? Like that to me is, now you phone the league office and say, "What's going on here?
Yeah,
take a look at this," right? Because this cost us a game.
That could actually cost them a playoff berth. To be able to score that touchdown a lot easier. They had 2 plays from the 1 or 2 yard line, and then they just had to get it. They had to punch it in and then get a 2-pointer, and it's going to overtime. And he asks them straight out. Like I'm shocked that the guy would. He would either lie and say yes, you are, or not say anything and then throw a flag. The guy's just he's far out from where they're snapping the ball. He's just asking, "Hey, can you help me out? Am I on their line?" The guy's supposed to tell him, and he didn't. And then a blatant pass interference that should have been called. This was bad. And at times, there's conspiracy theories like, "Hey, the refs had money on this game," but these last 2 plays really made me wonder: did this guy have money on the game and decide Giants were going to win? It was really blatant to me.
No, that is, and I do remember the pass interference call where I'm like, okay, come on, where's the flag on that? And there was no flag, and I was like, oh, that's not good. I did want to bring up one particular player for the Giants that was on defense that had one hell of a game, Kayvon Thibodeau.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was an absolute monster. But he had one of the greatest plays I think I've seen. Sack, forced fumble recovery, leading to a touchdown.
Yeah,
He did it all
he
in
did
one
it
play.
all. Yeah, yeah.
That was, I was very impressed with
that was one of the nicest plays ever too, and just right on the goal line, be able to grab it and punch it in for a touchdown himself. Yeah, he was a beast. And the Giants have looked great this year, had a really good year, but these two teams couldn't be more evenly matched. Coming in both 7-5-1, having a tie last time, went down to the final drive in the final minute, and I think this deserved overtime at least, and then we wouldn't have had too much controversy unless more blatant calls were screwed up. But this deserved to go into overtime. I really would have loved it. Nice way to finish a great day of football, and give both these teams a chance to win the game in OT. But I hope there's investigation done, and I hope they figure out what the hell happened, and especially talk to that referee that got asked, "Hey, am I on the line here? I'm trying to be on the line here. Am I on the line?" And the guy doesn't say it or lies. So something's wrong. Something's really, really wrong.
I'm guessing one thing's definitely going to happen with that particular ref. He's not playing. He's not going to be reffing in the playoffs.
Yeah, I hope not.
Because you can't have a guy like that reffing in the playoffs.
No, not at all. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so the Giants go to Minneapolis to play the Vikes on Saturday, the early window, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern. And Washington goes to the 49ers on Saturday, 1:05 kickoff, Christmas Eve. Tough place for the Commanders to go to. Niners are rocking right now and looking great. They're leading their division 10-4, fresh off a huge playoff spot clinching win over the Seattle Seahawks. That was on Thursday. They won 21-13 behind the arm of Brock Purdy. Another good game for Brock. No mistakes, 217 yards through the air and a couple touchdowns. He loves Christian McCaffrey already, just handing him the ball, giving him the ball. Another great game, 108 yards through the air with a touchdown and 30 on the ground, and 30 through the air. George Kittle, 4 catches, 2 touchdowns, and Niners are looking great. Seattle was leading this division for most of the season, but now they're in the rear view. I don't think they have a shot at this at all. And Niners, I think Brock Purdy could lead this team quite far. I don't think he's going to make mistakes, and this defense is just too good.
Yeah, the defense is absolutely stellar, and he's been very economical with how he's running the offense, Purdy, and he's doing it super efficient, and it's fantastic for him knowing that he has all of these great weapons all around him, all over the field.
Yeah.
And this time, for this particular game, he chose the one weapon to be Kittle. That was his favorite target, which with the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
All these, all this guy's got to do is just kind of manage the game properly and not turn over the ball. If he can have games like this consistently, he's going to really actually give the 49ers a chance to go far and deep into the playoffs.
Yeah. I was shocked at Jordan Mason's numbers too. Yeah, he only had 4 carries, 64 yards. Seattle's run defense, another leaky performance, and 16 yards a carry. I'd be handing Jordan Mason the ball quite a bit the rest of the season if he's been able to rack up 16 yards every time he touches the ball.
Yeah, well, especially if he's playing against the Seattle defense, it's like, Mason, you're in. No, you know what to do against this defense.
Yeah. Poor Seattle had such a great start to the year. They're 7-7, and they're on the outside looking in right now. We'll see. They have they're in tough. Not a lot of people expected them to go far this year and have a great season, but we'll see. We'll see if they can put it together and sneak into the playoffs. I'm starting to doubt it. They have to face the Chiefs next, and that's a early game. I don't see them winning. I don't see them being able to, stay in that playoff hunt.
No, it's going to be extremely hard for them to stay in the playoff hunt now that it's come to this. But at the end of the day, still very much better than where I thought they would end up this season.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people thought they would end up this season. So at least you could say that the Seahawks have something to build upon going forward.
Yeah. Staying in the NFC West, the Rams are playing tonight in the Monday Nighter. They're heading into Green Bay to play the Packers. We'll see if Baker Mayfield can pull out some magic again tonight. Aaron Rodgers, Baker Mayfield, battle of the Titanic quarterbacks.
Yeah. Who would have ever thought, huh? Who would ever thought? Baker Mayfield versus Aaron Rodgers. But if Baker can make some more magic like he did just last week, maybe the Rams will end their season on a high note.
Packers made a strange move today. They waived Sammy Watkins, kicked him off the field today. I don't know what went down there, but you would have thought going into the game tonight, they would have at least played him and cut him tomorrow, but kind of bizarre. One of their weapons, they said see you later to today.
That is odd. Obviously, there's something that must have happened behind closed doors. I don't know what it could have possibly been, because he was kind of an instrumental weapon for them for a while there. Either way, somebody's going to be picking him up.
Yeah.
Some team is going to pick him up.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good weapon for a team, going down the stretch, trying to make the playoffs or do something in the playoffs. I would, if I was a team, I'd pick him up for sure. Yeah, he's a veteran that's got good hands and has had a great career.
Yeah, definitely. Again, kind of surprising, but definitely somebody's going to be picking him up. He's not going to be staying there for too long. He's not going to be staying unemployed for too long.
Yeah. The Rams next play on Christmas Day. It's the 1:30 game, and they host the Broncos. And the Packers go to Miami. They play on Sunday as well, and that's the early window. Team that's bottom of the NFC West, Cardinals. They fell to 4-10 on the year with a 24-15 loss against the Broncos. The Broncos improved to 4-10. Amazingly enough. Brett Rippon was in for Russell Wilson. He was pretty decent. Latavius Murray had a great game. 24 for 130 yards and a touchdown. Justin Simmons had 2 interceptions, and Patrick Surtain had the other, as they picked off the Cards quarterback 3 times. Trace McSorley threw 2 of them, and Colt McCoy 1. And I don't know. Do you have much more to add to that?
No, Murray was the story in this with 130 yards carrying, and then the Broncos defense stepped up against the second and third string quarterbacks of the Cardinals, picked them off. Such a riveting game. So super exciting. So yeah.
No, I didn't spend a lot of time breaking that one down. Both teams at 4-10, far down the playoff list, and no chance this year. The Cards host the Bucks on Christmas Day for the Sunday Nighter, 5:20, and the Broncos go to the Rams. They also play on Christmas Day, 1:30, as I mentioned a little earlier. Okay, let's go switch to the NFC North, and we got to talk about the greatest comeback in NFL history. So I'm texting you on Saturday morning, and I'm saying, holy cow, can you believe this game? My God. And Vikings couldn't have made more mistakes. The Colts just kept piling up points, not getting touchdowns like they should have. They kept getting field goal after field goal when they got the turnovers. But when it's 33-0 at halftime, most of North America turned the game off, I'm sure, and went about their Christmas shopping, hung their Christmas lights, put their tree up, whatever they did. Most people didn't keep tuning in. Vikings went into the locker room and said, hey, we got this. We got this. And they came out and they got 5 touchdowns, put it into overtime, and they won 39-36. It's statistically the greatest comeback in NFL history, and it was this weekend. And I was shocked Indy was up that hard, but I'm still shocked that they blew that kind of a lead. You can't blow that kind of a lead.
Okay, so when you texted me, yes, I was in the gym and I did. Yeah, I was getting my workout in, and you're like, okay, we'll just put it on the TV, and I'm like, well, unfortunately, that TV doesn't exist there, so I couldn't put it on.
Damn.
But especially when you told me it's 33-0. All right, game's over. All right, there's nothing much more to say.
Yeah.
And then you text me back later saying, greatest comeback ever. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what are you talking about? How can a team come back from that?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you how they did it. Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
That's how you get it done. Kirk Cousins had himself monster game. Monster.
Yeah.
460 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That last interception that he threw, though, I thought that was a game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he threw that right at the end of the game, and I'm like, there is no way that they can score now. Like, there is none.
Yeah.
There is none. And then also, too, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a play there where the defense stripped the ball or something like that, and they had a touchdown, but they didn't call it?
Yeah, they said his momentum was his forward momentum was stopped or something, and
and then on the replay, you're like, what are you talking about? The ball is out.
Yeah,
that's a fumble, right?
Yeah.
Like, that should have been a touchdown right there. And so there was many times where the Vikings are like, oh, almost. It was like, it reminded me of the other game where they won, where they almost shouldn't have won. Like, it was kind of the same. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
And so finally, when they punch it in, so they go to overtime, I'm like, well, if I'm the Colts, I don't think we got it anymore, boys. like this shouldn't have happened, and now it has. And it was amazing comeback win. And then all of this man's weapons were right there for him. Dalvin Cook, 17 carries, 95 yards, 4 receptions, another 95 yards, and a touchdown. KJ Osborne, 10 receptions, 157 yards, 1 touchdown. Justin Jefferson, 12 receptions, 123 yards, another touchdown. All his weapons were definitely there. He found them all the time. Even Adam Thielen had a touchdown as well. Amazing comeback for the Vikings.
Yeah, no, that was spectacular. They've had an incredible season, pulling out so many games, 1-score games, and to be 11-3 and just still absolutely dominant, clinching a playoff spot and getting in there. It was a shock, and I'm amazed that they were able to battle back and pull this off. I definitely have Kirk Cousins as my hero of the week. To be able to, just go into the locker room down 33-0, it's usually like, okay, we're putting the backups in. Have a good rest. We'll see you next week. He came out and engineered that 4 touchdowns and 460 yards. And I mean, it wasn't like they just threw the ball. Dalvin Cook still carried the ball a lot. And but those 3 weapons that he had that you mentioned, holy cow, those guys are just all world. And some of the catches Osborne made were incredible. Justin Jefferson is in my mind top 1 or 2, 3 receivers in the league now. And they just came back. And I was making some funny jokes like, Jeff Saturday, the only head coach named Saturday ever play on Saturday. And I was like, Jeff Saturday might be the only coach ever fired on Saturday. Yeah, it was crazy bad. I feel bad for Matt Ryan on the losing end of the greatest comeback in NFL history in the regular season and the Super Bowl. 2 really, really rough losses that have to leave some serious scars on his heart. Like, he's got a Super Bowl victory in his hands, 28-3 up, and they lose. He's got this win. They're still in the mix for a playoff spot, and to lose this way, it's got to be just be horrible today to be walking around as Matt Ryan.
It's devastating, and I'm sure he really appreciated it when people remind him of that Super Bowl loss. It's like, oh, is it just like that Super Bowl loss? You remember that, right? He's like, oh, dude, it's great. But yeah, man, it's tough. tough loss, because this is not a loss that should have happened.
No.
They should have had this one easily in the bag, but for some reason, it conspired against them. So hopefully they can grow from this. They can learn from this, and hopefully Jeff Saturday as the head coach can be like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to do something a little bit different to prevent us losing a 33-point lead and losing the game.
Yeah, I can't believe they didn't just grind the clock out, hand the ball off, just make sure that they're just getting a few first downs and just taking the clock down. It's crazy that they could be outscored that badly. 36 points in 30 minutes and only get 3 themselves. Insane, absolutely insane. But Kirk Cousins, my hero of the week. We honorable mention to Trevor Lawrence and Zay Jones. Zay Jones with 3 touchdowns in that Jags win. And both those 3 guys had phenomenal games. Lots of great games by many. My zero's coming up. I think I kind of teased it off the top a little bit, but we'll talk about my zero of the week very soon. Okay, now we're going down a little bit into the NFC North. Let's see. Oh, let's mention the Vikings host the Giants on Saturday, early window. Colts host the Chargers. And this is the Monday night or Boxing Day for you Canadians, Boxing Day. Okay, second place in the NFC North is the Detroit Lions. They started the year 1-6, and now they're 500 at 7-7. They got a nice little tidy 20-17 win over the New York Jets. And Jared Goff is now telling everybody that they won the Matthew Stafford trade, and he's playing great, absolutely amazing. 6 games in a row with no interceptions, the longest stretch of his career. He's looking good, not making mistakes, and just continuing these wins, and they have a legitimate shot at the playoffs now after a 1-6 start. This could be one of the greatest comebacks in the NFL, from a team at the very bottom of the league to going up and actually being in that top 7, making a playoff spot.
I mentioned it from the beginning of this season that it felt like the Lions at least were going in the right direction.
Yeah.
That they had the head coach that believed in the players and the players that believed in the head coach.
Yeah.
And now it's finally paying dividends. Going 1-6 and now going 6-1 and completely flipping the script.
Yeah.
And Jared Goff is playing fantastic. He's playing great.
Yeah.
Threw 4 touchdowns to Wright, 1 reception for the 51 yards, which was a great play. Fantastic play for him to get in the end zone. But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give some flowers out. I'm gonna give Zach Wilson some flowers.
Yeah, best game I think. Best game I think of his career, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
317 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, but he played well, and he gave the Jets a chance to win this game, which I didn't know if he could actually do that.
Right. So. Yeah. Mike White wasn't able to play. He has 2 broken ribs on one side, another broken rib on the other side. Wasn't able to make it back for this week. He's doubtful also for Thursday's game. So Zach Wilson might get his second straight start. CJ Uzama finally got his first 2 touchdowns of the season. He signed with the Jets this season to a 3-year, $24 million deal. Hasn't been living up to expectations, but finally was able to get into pay dirt a couple times. And they lost, but there was a couple of good performances by the Jets.
Yeah, there was a couple of good performances, something to hang their hat on, something to be proud of, at least going forward.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, though, the Lions, very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. And they're coming hard, man. They're coming hard down the stretch.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. Yeah. They host they go to Carolina and play on Saturday, early window, Christmas Eve. Rest of the NFC North, Packers 5-8, as I mentioned, playing the Rams tonight. We're about 25 minutes away from kickoff there. And the Bears sit at 3-11 down in the bottom. Okay, NFC South. The Bucs are still leading the NFC South. at 6-8, but they blew a 17-3 lead and got crushed by Cincinnati. Joe Burrow had 4 TDs. Tom Brady had 4 drives in a row that led to turnovers in the second half, 2 fumbles, 2 picks. And this was another low moment for Tampa, but they still are in the playoff picture, leading the NFC South. Crazy, this division. This is bizarre. Cincy looked great and, really starting to fire on all cylinders, heading to the playoffs, just like they did last year.
Yep, exactly like they did last year. The Bucs had way too many turnovers, and so kind of just literally gave this game away. And Burrow was great. He was fantastic. 27-39, 200 yards, 4 touchdowns, all to his favorite receivers. Jamar Chase had a touchdown. Boyd had a touchdown. T. Higgins had a touchdown. And another guy to round it off, let's throw him in there. Wilcox had a touchdown as well. So, yeah, Bengals are looking fantastic. They're looking good. The exact opposite of where the Bucs are, who are still in the playoff position, which is just amazing. And then, Brady, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, but those 2 picks were huge, massive. And that's what contributed to their downfall.
Yeah, too many mistakes there for sure. And they had this game. This is crazy how we're seeing a lot of bad mistakes and things that we don't see from Tom Brady and we haven't seen from the Bucs since he got there. But this has been a strange year. Bucs go to Arizona, play on Christmas night, and Bengals go to the Patriots Saturday morning early. Okay, and the rest of the South are sitting at 5-9. Panthers are in second, 5-9. Saints and Falcons are third and fourth, all 5-9. The Panthers, they lost to the Steelers, 24-16. It's hard to talk too much about all these teams because they're not fun. They're not doing well, and but they're all in the hunt. One of these teams is going to make the playoffs. I don't know who, but one of these teams is actually going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. And one of these teams is going to make the playoffs. If I had to bet, maybe the Steelers, but I don't know, man. Like it just, they're all about the same grade right now. You know what I mean? So, and then Trubisky did enough to win the game. 17-22, 179 yards. Ran in a touchdown. Oh, that's a first. I didn't know he could do that. And then Najee Harris also had a touchdown, running a touchdown. Their running attack was very effective for the Steelers on this one. Yeah. Najee Harris, 24 carries, 86 yards. And then, there was a Sam Darnold sighting. So apparently he played. And went 14-23, 225 yards for a touchdown. But unfortunately, the Panthers just didn't have enough to get over the Steelers.
No. And as I mentioned, the other 2 teams, Saints and the Falcons, they played each other. New Orleans squeaked out a win, 21-19. There was some usual suspects for New Orleans that really helped contribute to the win. Alvin Kamara was good. Jawan Johnson had 2 touchdowns. Taysom Hill had great numbers, 2 for 2, 80 yards and a touchdown pass. And 7 for 30 rushing on the ground for Hill. And Rashid Shaheed had 3 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. I really loved the performance by Tyler Algier for Atlanta. What a hell of a game he had. Desmond Ridder, they weren't allowing him to unleash the ball very much, so Algier was taking the bulk of the load. And he had a phenomenal game.
No, Algier had a phenomenal game and almost single-handedly won the Falcons the game by his stellar play. But unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. They just needed a little bit more. Also, Cordarrelle Patterson had a touchdown to himself, 14 carries for 52 yards. But the Saints had this one. And again, I love that Swiss Army knife of Taysom Hill. He can literally do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So, 2 for 2, 80 yards, and a touchdown pass. That's pretty phenomenal. Yeah. Algiers numbers were 17 carries, 139 yards, and a touchdown. And yeah, Saints go to Cleveland, play Saturday. Falcons go to Baltimore, also Saturday, both in the early window. And I forgot to mention, Panthers host the Lions Saturday, early window. Pittsburgh hosts the Raiders on Saturday, the late game 5:15 kickoff. Okay, AFC now. We'll be able to fly through because we've covered a lot of the games, but we haven't covered the Bills beating the Dolphins. This was a game of the weekend that I was really looking forward to. We were expecting a huge dump of snow. It didn't come till really late in the game, except from the stands, all the snowballs that kept getting thrown, and the referees had to say to the fans, any more snowballs, we're getting 15-yard penalties against your Bills, and that didn't even stop them. But this was a pretty great game, all in all. 32-29 Bills victory, clinching the East and a playoff spot at 11-3, falling the Dolphins to 8-6. And Josh Allen, man, this guy puts up incredible numbers. An awesome game again.
Yeah, he had an incredible game. 25 40, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, 10 carries for 77 yards. I love it when this guy takes off because you just know it's like, I'm not going to slide. I'm going to hurt you. He's going to run you over. Yeah. Oh, and especially the one dive that he did where he dove over the top like he was a WWE wrestler. Yeah. I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? Yeah. He's a wild man out there, but I love it. I love it. I know.
Yeah, they called that a fumble at first, but luckily they reviewed it and saw that he had broken the plane, and they was able to get it, punch it in for a touchdown. And yeah, he's another guy. Jalen Hurts, love. Justin Fields, love. But Josh Allen, man, he is just such a pleasure to watch. I think that the Bills, they're just Bills Mafia has just got to be just thrilled every time this guy is healthy and gets to snap the ball for them. Got a great chance of winning and going far. They're looking like the beast of the AFC, and especially if games are in Buffalo in those kind of conditions, it's going to be hard for many teams to do much coming in there.
Oh yeah, it's going to be super hard, but at the same time, Miami made this game close.
Yeah,
they're a warm weather team.
Yeah,
and they actually gave the Bills a run. Like that was the one thing that surprised me the most. And Tua was good, like 234 yards, 2 touchdowns. His favorite receivers did their thing. Waddle did his penguin waddle. I love that. I love his touchdown dance, by the way. I think it's one of the best in the NFL.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. So he had his 1 touchdown, 3 receptions, 114 yards. Tyreek Hill had another touchdown, 9 receptions, 69 yards. Like the Dolphins gave the Bills a game, especially in conditions that they usually historically don't play well in.
Yeah, being such a fair weather team, usually they can't do well. Raheem Mostert was a huge pickup too. He had a phenomenal game, 136 yards on 17 carries, and even 1 catch for 20 yards. And that's been a great acquisition for them. Unfortunately, they fall to 8-6. They host Green Bay on Saturday, the early window, and also on the early window, Bills go to Chicago. Okay, so the other teams in the AFC East, we got to talk about the Patriots. Okay, so my 0 of the week, it was probably the dumbest play that I've ever seen in the history of the game. And there's been a lot of dumb plays, but Jakobi Meyers, I think, forgot what the score was and decides he's going to throw the ball back to Jones. The wrong Jones ends up getting it. Mac Jones was standing there, and I don't think he wanted the ball. For some reason, Jakobi Jones, on a lateral play with no time remaining on the clock in a tie game, he decides to fire it across the field. Chandler Jones grabs it, stiff arms Mac Jones to the ground and runs it in for the game-winning score with no time on the clock, making Vegas go into a frenzy. and the black hole was excited beyond belief. And that was one of the craziest endings to a NFL game I've ever witnessed.
I think when Mac Jones said, "Why is the ball coming towards me?"
Yeah.
And I think he had more shock than anything else. He was like, "What's going on here?
What the-
Why is that in the air coming towards me?" I myself, as I'm watching it, because I watched the highlights, I was like, "Wait, what is he doing?"
Yeah.
I didn't know what was happening. I'm like, "Wait, do I have the score wrong? Is it? Oh no, it's tied." It complete bonehead move. Obviously, he lost grasp of exactly what was going on in the game, which I don't really know how you can do that. And yeah, and the Patriots lose a game they could have easily won.
I would have loved to be on the flight from Vegas back to New England and just saw how Bill Belichick handled the move by Jakobi Meyers, because he doesn't handle dumb football very, very well. I think Myers might have just decided to take a bus back instead of a flight, because holy cow, he would have been in big trouble from the hoodie.
He might have had the most uncomfortable plane ride back by the hoodie just saying, "Sit here, young man, right beside me." And we're like, "Oh, we're gonna get it the entire plane ride, not just a little bit, the entire plane ride. I'm gonna hear about it." So you know what? At least he can learn from this experience of, "Oh, don't do that again, ever." And also too, he wasted a fantastic performance by Stevenson with 19 carries at 172 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
If I'm Stevenson, I'd be like, "Dude, really?"
Yeah.
What are you doing, man?
Well, Stevenson started it though. He's the one that actually lateraled it back to him. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know why he made even that mistake. That was a mistake on his part, because once he was got, he was got. You go down, it's overtime. I don't know why he handed back to Jakobi. It was, his great game was ruined by him handing it off.
Well, I guess in retrospect, he's like, "I guess I shouldn't have done that." But I thought you weren't definitely going to toss it across the field to somebody, to Mac, who's just like, "Again, why is that ball in the air?"
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that actually probably will knock the Patriots out of the playoffs. Such a massive loss for them. Instead of 8-7, they're or 7. They would have been 8-6, and now they're 7-7. And on the outside looking in, this is tough for them. And I don't know if they can recover from such a massive mistake. They host the Bengals on Saturday, early window. Bengals are rolling, and I expect Cincinnati to win easily. And this was a monumental mistake. And I saw some of the networks today put up other boneheaded plays, other stupid moves, and nothing even came close to this one. This one was just like heads and shoulders above the worst play a football player has ever made. Just somehow forgetting what the heck the score is, and trying to throw a pass across like that was just, it was insane. He said, "Oh, I didn't see Chandler there," but why even attempting that throw in the first place?
Well, exactly. And that throw should never have been made in the first place. It should never have happened. And also too, now to compound upon everything, you might be out of the playoffs because of that. Yeah.
Insane. Absolutely insane. Raiders are loving life and having fun there. They go to Pittsburgh. They play the late game on Saturday, Christmas Eve, 5:15. Okay, let's go to the AFC West. The Chiefs, amazingly enough, they had some trouble with Houston, just like Dallas did last week. I don't know how these teams are having trouble with a 1-12-1 team, but the Chiefs did. Davis Mills had a late fumble to really give the Chiefs a chance to come back and win. Great performances by so many of the Chiefs. Like Mahomes had a great game. Jerick McKinnon had a phenomenal game. Kelsey, Juju, Pacheco. This team's 11-3 now and looking like front runners. But I was shocked that they had this much trouble with Houston.
I think, you know what, the Chiefs probably just wanted to give the Texans some false hope. Fans, just some false hope. It's like, you guys have had it rough, so we'll make the game kind of exciting, and then we'll beat you. That's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
Hey, and it worked. It
It
worked.
worked. It
And
worked.
I do want to say this. I thought the best catch though of the game for this particular game was Valdez Scantling with the full out layout catch in
Yeah.
the end for a touchdown. I thought that was stellar. But Mahomes, well, you know what? I don't think he was ever worried. He was just like, okay, well, they're ahead now, but they're not gonna stay there.
No, exactly. No, they kind of just played with him. It's like a cat playing with a mouse, giving him a little bit of a chance to get away and stuffing him again, and a little chance of getting him back. Jerick McKinnon had amazing numbers: 10 carries, 52 yards, and a touchdown, and 8 catches, 70 yards, and another touchdown. This guy is a weapon that has come in and really filled the hole that Tyreek Hill gave them when he left.
Yeah, he most certainly has. He's filled that void. And Pacheco's come in and filled the void at running back, and he's been doing well since he's taken over the reins.
Yeah.
Again, another 15 carries, 86 yards. And Mahomes, he did throw for 2 touchdowns, but he decided, I better get one myself. So, yeah, I'll run one in as well. We got one.
Yeah, you got to give him one of the heroes of the week, honorable mention too. Pretty awesome. KC hosts the Seahawks Saturday, early window. Houston goes to Tennessee, play them in the early window as well. Speaking of the Titans, they lost heartbreaker 17-14 to the Chargers. Justin Herbert had a pretty good game. His 2 picks were tough, kept the game a lot closer. His weapons, everybody just was just okay. On the Titans side, Derrick Henry had another phenomenal game, but they don't have anything else there. Their cupboard is bare, and they're still leading the South, but at 7-7. The Jags are actually only 1 game behind them, getting an opportunity maybe at the championship. But as I said, Chargers squeaked out a 17-14 win.
Yeah, Eckler was got himself a touchdown, 12 carries, 58 yards. And Keenan Allen, great day, okay day, 8 receptions, 86 yards. Chargers did enough to get the win here. But you're right, the Titans, if Henry doesn't do almost everything, they are extremely limited on offense. Yeah. That's what it feels like to me.
Losing A.J. Brown was just so massive for this team, and it's hampered them big time. They were the top team in the AFC record-wise last year. This year, they're just 500, and I actually think they're going to lose the division to the Jags. The way the Jags are playing right now, I think it's Jacksonville's to win now.
Yeah, I think so. Jacksonville looks great. They're charging hard, and the Titans seem to be they're just losing their mojo steadily as we go along in this season.
So we've covered already the rest of the AFC West. The Raiders are 6-8. The Broncos are last at 4-10. AFC North, we mentioned the Bengals beat the Bucks and they sit at 10-4. Ravens lost to Cleveland 13-3, and they're 9-5 now on the year. Tyler Huntley fell back down to earth and wasn't very good. J.K. Dobbins had another good game, but there was only 1 touchdown on the game. Donovan Peoples-Jones, Deshaun Watson was average. Nick Chubb got robbed. He had 100 yards, and then they scooped a yard away, and he only got 99. That was pretty crappy of their Cleveland home statistician, taking a 100-yard game away from him. But this is a pretty big yawner. This was a game where I'm like, okay, I don't mind missing this. I'm going to go Christmas shopping. I'm going to watch the UFC. I don't care about these 2 teams. I don't think this is going to be a good game, and it wasn't.
No, it was not a good game. It was an absolute snoozer. Watson looked a little bit better. I will give him that in this particular game. And that's about all I saw from this game.
Yeah. Okay, so Cleveland hosts the Saints Saturday early. Ravens host the Falcons also Saturday early. AFC South, we've mentioned already. Titans lead 7-7. Jags sit back at 6-8. Colts are now 4-9-1, and the Texans 1-12-1 to round it out. That is pretty much the NFL story. I do want to mention a bettor won $2.88 million on a 5-leg NFL parlay. And the biggest win of those 5 games was the miracle win by the Raiders. Imagine how much he was jumping up when that ball was tossed across to Chandler Jones, because he won almost $3 million on his bet.
First off, he must have said to Jakobi Meyers, "Thank you. Oh, dear God, thank you so much. Oh, my goodness." Because, that is amazing that happened for him. And then also, too, I would be jumping up and down because it's like that's a gift from God, literally.
Yeah.
A gift from God.
It was crazy. Yeah. So, I guess, we're going to keep our fingers crossed that Jalen Hurts isn't too hurt, has his shoulder sprain, doubtful for Saturday's game. But as I mentioned, we've got games on Saturday. Most of the bulk of the games are Saturday this week. Only 3 games on Christmas Day. NBA has 5, so we'll be switching back and forth a little bit. And just a Monday nighter. So most games Christmas Eve. It'll be fun to watch, and we're getting really close to the playoff picture. It's really starting to it's starting to really take shape, and we can tell who's going to be in and who's going to be out, and what's coming together. We've got only weeks to go.
Yeah, we only have weeks to go, and it's getting exciting, getting right down to the wire. And man, I'm just looking forward to when the playoffs start. I really am.
There's only 6 teams that have definitely clinched so far. 4 on the NFC: the Eagles, Vikings, Niners, and Cowboys have clinched a spot. As I said, Buccaneers still sitting first in their division. The Giants and Washington currently sits in 7th place. In the hunt, the Seahawks, the Lions, and Packers are playing tonight. In the AFC, Bills and Chiefs are the only 2 that have clinched for sure. Bengals are in the driver's seat, definitely looking like they're going. They sit in the 3rd seed. Titans are 4th seed. Ravens, Chargers, and Dolphins. Chargers and Dolphins are both 8 and 6, sitting in the 6th and 7th seed. Patriots and the Jets and the Jags are the teams on the bubble in the hunt. I don't think the Patriots and the Jets can make it, but I really do think the Jags can pass the Titans and get in there.
Yeah, Jags definitely have a chance. Jags definitely have a chance of getting in there. But I agree with you on the Patriots Jets. I don't think those 2 are going to be getting it.
No. Okay, man. Well, that's the NFL story for me. Let's turn to the last card of the UFC's season. Historic year. Amazing amount of cards. 42 cards this year. And it ends in the Apex again, UFC Apex 66. Crazy amount of cards in Vegas since the pandemic. We had a lot of great fights on this card. I found the main event to be a little too cautious for my liking. Both guys were just seeming to not throw the kitchen sink at the other. I think they were both kind of worried about the power coming back each way. Strickland was headhunting the entire time. Cannonier definitely had more of a balanced approach. It was crazy how even it was strike-wise. There was only really 1 takedown in the whole entire fight, and it didn't last on the ground very long. But you kept seeing the numbers, and they were just, very, very close the entire fight. And then we came to the cards, and it was a weird split decision. One guy had it 49-46 one way, one guy had 49-46 the other way. And then we had 48-47 victory. I thought Cannonier probably did pull out the win, but in the end, what did you think of it on a whole?
I didn't mind the fight at all. I just thought it was incredibly strategic.
Very
I think for both guys, they both knew that the other guy can hurt me and I can hurt him very badly if there's a mistake made. And so that's why I think that they were trying to be intelligent with their striking. Obviously, as the third round ended, going into the fourth and fifth round, the amount of aggression actually was went up by both fighters.
Sure.
For both of them for the fourth and the fifth round, because they started actually putting together combinations and stuff. At the end of the day, I thought Cannonier edged Strickland barely, but at the same time, I could see where the other judge, maybe not 49, 46, 48, 47 to Strickland. That's the way I would have scored it, but I could see it. I could see that being a scorecard, right? So it was super close. I know this. Strickland is definitely not going to fall in the rankings from that performance. You shouldn't. You should probably stay at number 7. And now Cannonier going forward, he's got to be considered for a title shot now. Depending on where Pereira is and where Izzy is and where, like if that rematch is going to happen right away or not, he's got to be considered. He's got to be right there.
Yeah, I think he is right there. I think there's probably going to be a rematch between Pereira and Adesanya. So, but him right there. I guess Robert Whittaker is scheduled to fight Paulo Costa now. So, so he's kind of going to have to wait a few months to find out who he faces. But these are the fight strike numbers going through the fight here. Cannonier had one more strike than Strickland, 13-12 in the first round. They were tied 19 apiece in the second round, 27 apiece in the third round. Strickland had 5 more strikes, 29-24 in the fourth round, and Cannonier ended up having about 5 more strikes than Strickland in the fifth round. And altogether, Strickland had 122 significant strikes, Cannonier 116. Strickland was twice as many head strikes, 109-53, but body strikes 36-12 for Cannonier and 27-1 on leg kicks. I saw a few more leg kicks that they didn't count for Strickland, but he really wasn't throwing that. I don't know why he wasn't throwing his legs. What was the reason of that?
He usually doesn't. That's just kind of his fight style. He likes to stay in the pocket and use his hands and work behind the jab. That's usually his thing. I don't know why he doesn't throw more leg strikes, because to diversify his offense, which would probably be very beneficial for him going forward. But he doesn't like to throw his leg strikes, which he should.
Yeah.
He should start to incorporate more into that his offensive package.
Yeah, it was a flawed approach. He was pissed off when the cards were read, and I mean it was razor thin, razor close. It was a really tactical fight, and if you like that, I just wanted to see a few more fireworks. I wanted to see a few more powerful shots landed, and it really wasn't there. The co-main event, though, man, this was one awesome fight between two guys that are super talented, and Sarukian ended up getting 7 takedowns, a 19 fight win streak by Imagulov, and Sarukian looked phenomenal in this fight and got a big decision win. This was a hell of a great battle between two incredible warriors.
Great technical battle again. Sarukian clearly had the advantage in the grappling and definitely began to wear Ismagulov down. But I got to give Ismagulov credit where credit's due. His takedown defense was absolutely spectacular. Yeah. I thought, like through the entirety of the fight, even when he was getting tired. But it took Sarukian that much effort to finally break down his takedown defense.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And I did like what Sarukian said after the fight, which is, we're so good, the two of us, that nobody else wants to fight us in the division.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely right. You take a look at that fight and you're like, I don't know if I want to fight any of those guys, man. I don't know about that. Yeah. Because Sarukian did win, but it wasn't easy. Was not an easy win by any stretch of the imagination.
He called out Islam Makhachev. They fought back in 2019, April 20th. and it was a decision win by Makhachev. He said it was it was the wrong call, hometown decision. It was fight of the night there back in 2019, St. Petersburg, Russia, and but he wants to erase that. He got beat by Matthias Gamrot his last appearance, but to me, he didn't lose that fight. It was a wrong decision on the judge's part, and he said it in the octagon. He's like, "I'm on a 7-fight win streak. I'm not counting that one. F you guys. That was not a loss." He also wants to fight. If he can't fight Makhachev, he wants to take on Charles Oliveira or Beneil Dariush. So asking for killers. He had 3 or 4 different opponents cancel in the past few months, and he's getting a little frustrated. Wants to take on the top of the division, and I'm looking forward to any of those guys. I think he's finally got up onto their level.
I think the UFC, I think he deserves the top 5 guy.
Yeah.
I think somebody in the top 5, he deserves to fight somebody in the top 5. He's proven it now. And also, too, people forget, he pushed Makhachev. And I think it was a short notice fight for him as well.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, he's actually that good. And people forget about that. I know I remembered it, especially watching this fight. That dude is that good, man. So I think he's now deserved the top 5 guy, and he should get a top 5 guy for his next fight.
Yeah, let's hope. I really hope so. Ismagulov, back to the drawing board. 19-fight losing streak. Most people never go on anything close to that. So, no shade thrown on him. 24-2, and he'll live to fight another day very, very soon for sure. This flyweight battle between Amir Abazi and Alessandro Costa. Costa's UFC debut came in. Abazi was the biggest favorite on the card, and Costa looked pretty good in that first round. I was pretty impressed, even the first couple rounds. And then Abazi got the takedown in the second round, held him down, and then wham, he threw an amazing uppercut that landed on Costa that took him out. It was a great performance by Abazi, and this is a really mover and shaker in the flyweight division.
Yeah, he's coming in strong. I think Costa actually expected him to throw the right hook, and then Albazi shifted it to an uppercut, caught him flush.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful, perfect technique, and then took him out in the third. Costa made a very good showing of himself against a ranked opponent, and for this being his first UFC fight, kind of tough one to take, right? But at the same time, I think Costa, as he's coming through now in the UFC, I think he'll do better. It's just that he fought a really, really high level guy right off the bat. So I'm not gonna come down on him too hard, because Albazi is actually that good.
Yeah, it's tough to fight a ranked opponent your first UFC fight. It's a little bit unfair, but I think he was a late replacement guy, and that's who they found. So okay. Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy came in as an underdog. His record's never been terrific. He's had his ups and downs, but he got performance of the night and got a big KO victory over a tough guy in Juicy J, Julian Erosa. I loved Caceres' performance. He looked great, and this was an awesome knockout.
Oh, it was an awesome knockout. It was fantastic. Erosa thought he was out of the fire when he was pulling back, and Caceres throws that left high kick, catches him flush, and it is game over. Erosa was out.
Yeah.
And even when he came to and tried to get to his feet, he was still rocked. He was rocked for a while, man. So great win by Caceres. And I've always appreciated the way that Caceres fights. I've always thought it was exciting. And he gave us another highlight reel KO to add to his list of KOs.
Yeah, there's not that many people in the world that can throw a kick that far off balance after throwing a left and not connecting, and his whole body weight is shifting so far. I'm even out of this is how far away he was, and then he throws the kick and nails Erosa. And at first you thought maybe it was a little too quick of a stoppage, and then you saw him fall on his face and then get up and wobble and fall again, And oh yeah, that rocked him to the point where Herb Dean was very right for immediately calling it off before there was more damage.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, that fight's over. Fight
Yeah.
was definitely over.
Fight of the night. I said 50K to Alex Caceres. Well, 50K goes to both Drew Dober and Bobby Green. And you and I have talked a lot about Bobby Green, one of the favorite fighters in the UFC. He's got such an amazing style with his hands down at his waist. He's so quick. He's so entertaining. He wades into deep waters all the time, doesn't seem to be ever fighting cautiously. And this is another example. Won the first round, really beat up Drew Dober, landed a lot of shots and avoided almost everything that Dober was throwing his way. Was having the same type of success in the second round until Dober just threw a couple hooks until he finally connected on that chin, and Green was down. The fight was over, and Dober was game. He took a lot of abuse, but he landed that kill shot and took Bobby Green out.
I think Dober realized that obviously Green had the speed advantage against him in this fight, and it showed in the first round clearly. Yeah. So Dober knew that he had to be willing to go into the fire and take punishment to give punishment.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did. Because at the end of that fight, you saw Dober's face. He took a ton of damage.
Oh, yeah.
He took a ton of damage. Yeah. And like you said, threw the hook once, miss. Threw it again, miss. Throws it the third time, connects. It's over. Yeah. Boom. Yeah. Because at least the one thing that Dober can always rely on is he has his power, and he's got plenty of it.
Yeah, I've always liked Dober, and I've always liked how much heart he shows. He goes into some serious battles all the time and takes a lot of abuse. Shorter guy, doesn't have the reach advantage, has to go into inside to take shots, but to give shots. And Bobby Green, fun in defeat even. What an entertaining fighter. And he was on a really bad losing streak a couple years ago that made me worried that the UFC was going to send him packing. But after performances like this, even in a loss, I know the UFC has to love him as much as we do.
No, obviously they do, because hey, you put on performances like that, win or lose, the UFC is never going to get rid of you, because you're fan friendly and you put on great fights.
Yeah. Okay, so 50K to Caceres, 50K to Green and Dober, and also 50K to Michael Olajechek. He started off the main card with a knockout win over Cody Brundage. This was a great performance by him, and he gets to have an extra great Christmas with 50K more coming his way.
Yeah, it's always good having 50K more. And yeah, it didn't start off well. No. Brundage asserted his grappling dominance in the beginning there until Olajechek managed to reverse the position, managed to finally get away from his grappling, hit him a couple times, and then drops him, ground and pound finish in the first. It's all said and done. It's over.
Yeah, that was a quick and lethal finish, and real quick. And nice for him to get those that extra win bonus, and here he goes. Okay, prelims. Actually a pretty good fight between Corey McKenna and Cheyenne Buys. Decision there. McKenna's a young girl, part of the part of the camp down in California with why is the name escaping me? Uriah Faber. And was able to get a win over a really tough opponent there. I was pretty impressed by her performance.
Yeah, she took the path of least resistance by deciding not to engage on the feet with the speedy Buys, Lismus, and she took her to the ground, kept her on the ground, and beat her up that way. Definitely dominated in the grappling department in the second, and most assuredly the third, especially when she asked McKenna, let's fight on the feet. And McKenna's like, no, I'm just gonna grapple you. Because apparently if you're asking me to fight on the feet, you're not really appreciating the grappling, so I'm definitely taking you down to the feet.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, it was good. And she's so young. I think the future's super bright for her. I'm looking forward to seeing her fight again. This welterweight battle between Matthew the Jedi Semmelsberger and Jake Matthews. Man, this was one of my favorite fights on the card. My favorite fights in a long time. These two guys are incredible warriors, and Semmelsberger, man, this guy's tough. He just puts his chin down and just moves forward and takes shots, but he is tough as hell and a hell of a great fighter. This was an awesome fight to watch.
Great fight. I give Matthews all the credit because he got dropped by Smellsberger in the first, in the second, and in the third, and was still in the fight.
Yeah.
So, and we know Smellsberger has power. We also know that Matthews has power. But what we didn't know was that Smellsberger actually has more power than Matthews.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that, but
Yeah.
now we do. Smellsberger is a scary fighter, especially with that kind of power, that kind of heat coming at you.
Yeah, I was surprised. Semmelsberger just, when he got the knockdowns, you didn't see him just start wildly swinging and try to take him out. He just let him get back up and put it on him, kept putting it on him. But to get a knockdown in all 3 rounds and easily dispatch Jake Matthews, who was super tough. Massive win for Semmelsberger. Really good performance. The welterweight division has another contender moving on up. Okay. Anything else that you want to mention? Lots of great fights on this card for sure. The two guys with the very long names, Nurmagomedov and Kakramanov. Wow, this was an amazing battle too. These guys are both super tough.
Both super tough. Kakramanov actually was controlling the fight for most of it with his grappling heavy approach and trying to stay as connected as he could to Nurmagomedov until he made a slight miscalculation, and then Nurmagomedov got him in that guillotine choke, and it was done. And it was just a slight miscalculation on where his body positioning was when he was grappling him, and Nurmagomedov jumped all over it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between these high-level guys. If you just make a slight mistake, that's it. That's all it takes.
Yeah, I thought Kakramanov was winning the fight up to that point, and nobody had ever done that to Saeed. And but yeah, he just left his neck in the wrong position, and boom, got into that guillotine and could not get out of it. Had to tap, so that was it. Anything else you want to mention on the card? There was a lot of great fights, but
the only last thing I would mention is Garcia's win over Maheshate. I thought that was super impressive, just because of the fact that Maheshate had the length advantage and knew how to use his reach, knew how to use those knees to devastating effect. But Garcia still was able to wade into those dangerous spots, still managed to get his takedowns with powerful slams, and also too was very good at mixing up his striking and getting in leg kicks and stuff. It was a great win by Garcia. Very good win by Garcia.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was great. He looked really good doing that. Against a tough guy. So I loved it. Yeah. So as I said earlier, we've got a long wait between cards. January 14th is the next card. We're not going to see the UFC for a while, so we'll have a break. All of them can go back to their families and have a nice Christmas break, and give us a break for our families too. We won't have to be watching them on Saturday nights, and we'll get a chance to visit family and do some other things.
Yeah, of course, because it's Christmas. This is the time. This is the time where you see your loved ones, or you see those people that you haven't had a chance to see too often during the year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a few NBA news and notes. Over the weekend, Nikola Jokic had a historic game. 40 points, 27 rebounds, and 10 assists for one of the best triple doubles we've seen in our lifetime. An absolutely massive performance in a 119-115 win over Charlotte, and really put himself in the front runner MVP conversation again, and maybe a three-peat for Nikola Jokic to haul down that MVP trophy. There's very few players that have ever won it 3 times in a row, and this was a legendary performance.
It was amazing. He is amazing. And also, too, if you look at the standings in the West, I believe the Nuggets are third place in the Western Conference at 18-11.
Yeah.
And a large part of that is still due to Jokic, still due to the Joker. Even as Murray's trying to play himself back into shape, trying to get back to his almost all-star caliber level that he left before that injury, he's carrying the team. And the team, like the numbers of Jokic, if he's in the game as opposed to when he's out of the game, it's ridiculous. Like he literally makes the team better when he's on the court all the time. All the time. That's how good he is.
So this kind of statistical stat line was the first of its kind in 54 years. 1968 was the last time we've seen something that good. Wilt Chamberlain put up those kinds of numbers. Elgin Baylor, another guy that had those triple doubles back in the day. So the last time numbers we saw this were Chamberlain. He had numbers like that 4 times in his career, 40, 27, and 10. Last time he did it was March 18th, 1968. He got 53 points, 32 rebounds, and 14 assists.
Wow.
Unreal. This was Jokic's 5th triple-double this season and his 81st triple-double of his career. And he's only the 3rd player in NBA history to get those kinds of numbers. Elgin Baylor is another guy that had those back in the day. But yeah, the Nuggets are coming on number 3 seed, 18-11, as you mentioned. And yeah, I think, you know, man, if he can put up any kind of numbers like this, you know, it's not out of the question that he could get a 3rd MVP. Usually they give it to one of the guys that's on the top team in the regular season, you know, top 2 or 3 teams. And so Nuggets have to keep winning. But yeah, these are numbers, you know, he's actually has better numbers so far this season than he had those first 2 MVP seasons.
Yeah, he's on an historic run right now. And if he can keep it up, but hey, he's got some major competition for MVP this year. One of those guys in particular is Mr. Jason Tatum for the Celtics, who's definitely has to be considered for MVP this year.
Oh yeah, you're right, big time. Yeah. Okay, we've had a couple of huge injuries. Anthony Davis has a serious foot injury that's going to keep him out about a month, they think, and that will deal the Lakers a serious blow. I don't know what nickname Anthony Davis should have, but glass body or, you know, something. He's so injury prone. It's just sickening. It must be so frustrating for him, for LeBron James, and for everybody that's close to him. I mean, this just happens year after year after year. And this is another big blow to them. They were coming on lately. They're still sitting in 12th in the West. 13-16 record, but they had won a couple in a row, and they had done quite well in the past 10. But this is probably a blow that they might not be able to recover from if he's out this long.
Yeah, and also too, like, no, his nickname should be Mr. Glass. But the thing about it that's just so discouraging was that he was playing so well. Amazing, like he was playing MVP level. Yeah. That's where he was before this injury. And so we don't know how he's going to come back even after the injury's done. So it sucks. It sucks for Laker Nation, that's for sure, that this guy was playing that well and then all of a sudden gets hurt again. But you kind of know with Anthony Davis, it's unfortunate, but it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. That's just the way his whole career has been. It's unfortunate. Steph Curry, he's out 2 to 4 weeks with a shoulder separation, and yeah, they're hoping that it's on the lower end of that scale. But this is a big blow for Golden State. But Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson, as we mentioned last week, stepping up in his absence and getting an opportunity to keep the ship running while he's away.
Yeah. Just yesterday, Warriors beat the Raptors 126-110, and Poole 43 big points.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're getting their chance. They get their chance right now. Now that the guy that steers the ship is injured, now it's our time to make sure that we keep our heads above water until he gets back.
Yeah. Steph's old running mate KD, the stealth assassin, he got a career high 26 points in a quarter yesterday, 26 in the third on his way to 43 points in a 124-121 win over Detroit yesterday. He now only needs 60 points to pass Tim Duncan for 15th place on the all-time scoring list. And they play Golden State on Wednesday and Milwaukee Friday. Expect it to be done on Friday. We'll see him 15th all-time. Starting to get up there to some historic numbers.
No, he certainly is, and he's playing some of his best basketball of his career, period. And would you look at that? The Nets turning it around, 19-12.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
Six wins in a row. The only hotter team are the Knicks, and so it's pretty nice in New York City right now. 13 wins in a row for their two teams, and the other team that has 6 wins in a row, Orlando Magic. Can you believe it? Yeah. After such a brutal start, they have won 6 in a row. They were 5-20, and now they're 11-20. Still down there, but I don't know how they've been able to turn this around.
Well, they've been able to turn around because their stellar rookie Bianchero has been playing awesome. He had 31 points in their win against the Celtics yesterday, and another guy that's actually been showing just some serious chops lately. I've been impressed with some of the highlights he's been giving out is Bol. Yeah. He only had 11 points and 8 rebounds, but he's been playing very well in these wins for the Magic. Very well.
Yeah, I like that guy. Yeah, he's fun to watch. Yeah, I really like talking to. I like talking to those guys. I met a few guys from that area of the world, and Manute Bol paved the way, and a lot of those guys come in. They're like 7'6", and they're only a couple 100 pounds, but they can be a presence, and snag up a lot of rebounds. It'd be hard to get through the paint to try to score, and they've always been such a cool thing to watch. And when they can contribute, they're usually really talented.
Yeah, very talented, and he can do a little bit of everything right there, and especially the height is obviously very beneficial.
The battle in the East is looking great. The Bucks and the Celtics, I think they're going to go neck and neck all year. Cavs are still looking awesome at third. Knicks, like I said, they've won 7 in a row. Nets 6 in a row. We've got the Heat 4 in a row, and they're climbing back into it. And it's going to be a heck of a battle in the East. I was kind of surprised to see the Grizzlies get all the way up to first place in the Western Conference, and they're 8-2 in their last 10 and looking good. John Morant got kicked out of the game the other night for making some comment to a friend of his, and that was kind of weird. I was shocked that he got booted out. I think the referee didn't really understand what was said. He thought he was yelling something that he shouldn't have, and got kicked out. But Grizzlies are looking great.
Grizzlies are looking great, and they're looking great with one of their major weapons missing, because Desmond Bane is out with injury right now, so he's still due to come back. And once he comes back, the Grizzlies just going to be that much better. Much better.
I went to see a documentary this week. It's called The Grizzly Truth. It was done about the Vancouver Grizzlies and the reason why they left Vancouver for Memphis. One of the best movies I've ever seen. It was super phenomenal to see it in the theater. It is now showing on Crave. If you have Crave, anybody, really highly recommend it. Almost every single person that talked during the documentary, I have known and worked close with and have known over the years. It was amazing, the access and the ability for the documentary filmmaker to get able to get all the people that she needed to talk. It was awesome. I really recommend it, Jason, and everybody that's watching and listening. It was one of the best documentaries I've ever seen.
Well, that's fantastic, and I'm actually kind of surprised that the owner didn't was as giving with the information as he was, because we know that he was very instrumental in that move. Clearly,
Yeah. I think he's gone now.
Oh, right.
So yeah, they didn't have him. They didn't have him making comments, but they had almost everybody else. Even I think the one that stood out the most to me was Steve Francis. She was able to talk to Steve Francis, go back to his hometown. He said it was the first time that he had ever talked about the whole Vancouver fiasco and why he refused to come and play here after getting drafted. It was a pretty amazing scoop by her. She was able to get there. Her name is Kat James, but last name is spelled Jayme. She did another couple of documentaries on the Grizzlies before, but this one was my favorite, and it was absolutely amazing and awesome. And I was really happy to see that it's now out of the theaters, coming, and we can watch it on Crave. So I'm going to watch it even again.
I'm definitely going to have to check that out over the holidays for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's it for Complete Sports Media's podcast from me. Man, we're into Christmas week. Can you believe it?
It seemed like it seems like we were just doing this last year. You know what I mean? Like it just came so fast, so quick. The end of the these years actually go by faster and faster. Yeah. But the one thing I do want to say is that this has always been a pleasure. I always look forward to it on the Mondays. Yeah. And I definitely now am looking forward to our time off. Yeah. By the fact that we get to get rested, we get to get proper sleep. Yeah. And I get to eat a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, well, here you're on your way to a dinner. Drive safe. It's still snowing out there, and it's accumulated quite a bit all over. So, yeah, take it easy. Even if you're 10 minutes, 15 minutes late, no big deal. I'm sure they're going to save the food for you. So, yes. Yeah, enjoy your evening, enjoy your week. I'm sure we'll be in touch. And, yeah, thanks again, man. I appreciate it a lot.
No worries, no problem. And you have yourself a safe and healthy and giving happy holidays.
Okay, man. Cheers. All the best. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Okay, that was it. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you sticking in and watching and listening. Awesome time we had as usual. Wow, great year. I can't believe it's come to a close. I think this might be, I think this is our last podcast of the year, and you might not see us for a couple weeks, but enjoy your holidays. Love you lots. Take care of yourself, and thanks to our partners and sponsors as always. Really appreciate your support. Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast. Really great at posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. The V350 stick is a must-have. Pampas and Possibilities, phenomenal at being able to spruce up your home with West Coast pretty things that really make your home feel homey. And of course, Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. We love y'all, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, take care of yourself, have a wonderful time with your friends and family, and we'll catch you again in 2023. Bye for now.